Oh, well, I sure wasn't expecting this to come in today. Wow, hey, plane, nice. Set of box, United States of America, the Tomcat. Please be the USS flag, please be the USS flag, please be the USS flag. Yeah. Well, that extracted way easier than I thought. Only 3 large twist ties, one at the front of the plane, one just behind the cockpit, and one in the middle. That was nice and easy. Oh no, it's got my nemesis. Little bubbles full of accessories. No! Jet mode looks pretty darn good, though the painting is really weird. This whole spotchy paint job just... ugh. It looks more dirty than anything else. It's just ugly, and quite frankly, I can't wait for a customizer to get a hold of this stupid thing and do a decent paint job. There are a couple of cute little details here, with Maverick and Goose being on the side. I really do like that. The top of the plane has the blinkers that are used at night. The overall aesthetic of the plane works pretty darn well. The landing gears are non-existent in the back. There is a landing gear up front, which is kind of hard to pull out, and there's nothing in the back that I've been able to find, other than these 2 little struts that are coming off the robot's wrist. I will admit the figure sits very nicely on the surface of my table. It's fine. The figure has the variable configuration for the wings, then splayed out, and then folded up for fast attack action. Yeah, it's a pretty darn accurate-ish plane mode, except the paint. I don't think I've ever seen a plane painted like this. Besides the accessories that were already shown off, and we'll get into when we get into the robot mode, the figure also has these weapon pods that fit on the bottom or under the wings, and then these missiles that can go under the wings, though they don't look right. They just don't look right. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe it's because, they're just a giant honking piece of plastic with some very poorly painted tips. Weird. Just weird. As you can plainly see, there is a peg on the bottom of the vehicle mode that if you have either of the arms transformed and pointing to the front, you can peg the figure in on a flight stand, and then you could also move the figure to the flight stand peg to the back of the figure if you so desire. However, neither peg is great as, well, the figure is not real balanced on either of those points, but it does work. I love the plane mode. I legitimately love this plane mode, but God, this paint is just awful. It sucks. It just sucks, and I don't know. It's just, man, if it was painted as any other color or any other figure, or, like an actual Tomcat, I think I would like it a lot more, but who the hell came up with this? This is supposed to be like some kind of camo paint, I'm guessing, for reasons? I don't know. Before we get into the transformation, I want to assure you that yes, if you're thinking that this is just a Macross Valkyrie, you are correct. It has a very similar transformation, and you can even make a Gerwalk mode with it. What? So let's go ahead and get into the transformation proper. To start off with, we've got to come back to the back of the figure and unpeg the engines from this little flap that goes in between them. And then unpeg that flap from one of the arms. Fold that up, or the flap up, and it will peg into the back of the vehicle mode. And I like to fold the wings out just to give me something else to grab onto. Then we can take the entire bottom section that the engines connect to and fold them down a bit. Then come to the area just behind the, cockpit and flip these panels up. The panel, the white and the red light panels, flip them up and put them on the back. Next, come to the area between what will be the legs and fold the other arm up. Then we could grab the legs and pull them away from the body and fold them all the way down until they peg into place in this little notch that's inside the front landing gear, or underneath the front landing gear. Then you can leave the nose cone there, or you can fold it up and in to the section that's open up back there. Now for the feet, come into the section that's just underneath the engine and flip up these panels, and then we can reach our fingers in here and flip out the toes and the heel section. So the heel section will go over the engine, and then the toes will go in front of it. So the same thing on the other side. And it really helps to have some nails here. It really does. And then close up the shins and stand the figure up. So next for the transformation, we got some twisting and shouting. See that entire black section? This is going to rotate twice. The first way it's going to rotate is 180 degrees around so that the connector bit is pointing to the top, the two-pronged bit, and then turn the arms 90 degrees, and you actually want to make sure that you turn it such that the large pins that are inside or on the shoulders are pointing towards the back of the plane. Then open up the shoulder section like that, and grab the entire backpack and fold it down and fold it in, and the pegs that we talked about earlier will actually peg into this area that's just above the nose cone, and it should lock everything into place. You just have to futz with it enough to make sure everything lines up. So as we fold the backpack down, there are grooves here that the pegs will peg into, and the shoulders need to be open enough so that they slide up and peg into place inside this little beam. Peg that in, and it's a lot harder to do than you might think, and if you don't have the head up and out of the way correctly, things get in the way. So we got to get that head up and out of the way, fold it down, slide the shoulders up into place until you hear them snap into place, and then peg the butt in. Then we can fold the wings down a bit, come to the head, and just push it down until it kind of rests on top of there's a peg there. Turn the shoulders, turn the arms, and, well, I done screwed up because, as you can see, the large pins are pointing forward when I didn't want them to. And I've got the arms on backwards, so I gotta fix this. Once you stop screwing up this transformation, you can then take the head and push it down, and it doesn't really lock into place anywhere. And then fold the chest plate down, out, and over the back part of the cockpit, and we are done. Fully transformed, the robot mode looks a little bit better. However, the paint job still sucks. I do like the figure, though. I think the figure looks very cool, and it's the most G2 Jet-esque robot mode we've gotten in a long time. Head sculpt is a complete accurate representation of the original movie Top Gun's Maverick flight helmet, and works very nicely. I think it looks really cool. I would have loved to have seen maybe a silver faceplate as opposed to the black, because the black is kind of lost with the black neck, or the detail is lost with the black neck versus the black face. Maybe a gray faceplate. I understand why they went with black. It's the cheapest color, and also real breathing masks on planes are black, so there is that. Posability. Head is on a ball joint, though it is thankfully very tight. However, every time I try to move the head, something moves, since the entire shoulder and chest do not lock into place. Swivel in the shoulder with a hinge, swivel at the bicep, over 90-degree bend at the elbow. There is no torso articulation due to the transformation, but legs can kick forward and back at 90 degrees, leg can kick out at 90 degrees, there is a thigh swivel, and a bend at the knee that, oh good God, that is tight. Holy moly, I'm going to actually have to loosen those screws. There is no foot articulation, unfortunately. The two missile pods may be mounted on the back in robot mode, or they can be hand-carried in use. But then the weapon pods have a parlor trick where they flip out and turn into guns. Which, cool, I like that. That's a great use. I just wish it A, had paint, and B, didn't fall apart so easily. I mean, that just comes apart super easy. It's a real shame. Especially when, a piece falls apart and then a cat wants to run away with it. Ask me how I know. Oh, and the wrists do articulate. There is a swivel. However, the pin that holds the wrists in is very, very light and does not require much effort at all in order to move. So every time I try to plug anything into the hand, the wrist goes limp, which sucks.
It is possible to pull off some decent poses with the posability this figure offers. However, if things are not pegged in correctly, specifically that peg for the backpack, the whole figure turns into a mess whenever you try to move anything around. Now, taking a look at some of the accessories that the figure comes with, we first have this motorcycle, which is, I guess, iconic to the Top Gun movie. I think it is, but I literally don't remember. And why is this here? It doesn't do anything. It's utterly pointless having this in here. The other accessory is the volleyball with extra hands. Both the right and left hand have little pegs on them, so you could peg the volleyball into each palm. Getting the hands on and off is a struggle, but it is doable. I guess this is fine. It was a huge scene in the movie and probably the most iconic scene from the movie, so having it in here, I guess, kind of works. So in conclusion, what do I think of this figure? Well, I think the positives kind of outweigh the negatives. It's a fun figure. It's got a great vehicle mode. It's got a fantastic transformation. The robot mode is very cool and very jet robot-esque. It's got pretty good accessories, except for the motorcycle, and it's fun. It is a fun figure, but that doesn't mean there aren't some negatives here, and those include terrible paint, doesn't hold together particularly well in robot mode, the stupid motorcycle, and the plastic quality isn't the best in spots. Specifically for the arms and some of the inner components, it feels like that weird, dense nylon plastic that, say, Ape Face was made out of, but it's more dense than that plastic is. So I'm putting that in the negatives column. Also in the negative column is a very poor placement for a flight stand port. It's right here, just above the figure's back, or the small of the figure's back. And my flight stand don't reach. It's too short. I do like the figure. It is very cool, but as I've outlined, there are some major issues with it that I don't know if they're fixable. So hopefully Hasbro reissues this figure with a better paint job and maybe as an actual Transformer. So folks, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I'll catch you next time. So in the course of actually editing this review, I discovered that this guy is an officially licensed figure from Hasbro. The reason we've never seen this before is because they've licensed the actual design of the jet mode from Northrop Grumman. That's part of the reason this exists, and it was originally for the Top Gun Maverick, or Top Gun 2 movie, that was supposed to have come out in 2020, but that's been delayed first into the summer of 2021, and now to the winter or December of 2021. So this was supposed to be a movie tie-in figure that never saw the light of day. Makes me wonder if there's actually going to be a beach volleyball scene in that new movie. Probably. And that might also answer why there's a motorcycle here. This might be the motorcycle that was supposed to be in the new movie. So as I said, overall, I like the figure. It's got problems, and I would love to throw this over to a customizer to get fixed. One other thing is that the Canon Vixa HFG30 that I have been using for the past 5 years has pretty much given up the ghost, so I've had to use a different camera for this video, and it is a Sony camera with a tiny little microphone, so if you hear pops, that's because I got too close to the microphone while I was talking, and the microphone's only like $25, so it was the best I could get working in this time. I don't have a carrier or a caddy for it, so I just had to wing it, and I've tried to fix it the best I can in post. It's obviously not perfect, so I'll be looking at buying a new camera. Dang it, I really didn't want to have to do that.